Okay,
Yeah,
so your debate is just who should live there, rather than the fact that Palestine has
We're happy with the people that live there to continue to live there.
Okay,
But the problem is that they are not happy with us being there or being in charge. This is the problem.
right, okay,
They're not happy with the democracy situation because they are a minority.
okay.
And there are all sorts of schemes and plans to change the demographic of Israel, which many NGOs are working hard to achieve.
Sorry,
To
what's an NGO?
It's like a non-governmental organization. It's any you could start a group like say Amnesty International is an NGO.
Okay.
The Red Cross
Oh,
is
yeah,
another
okay.
one.
Yep.
Okay, yeah. So,
mermaids and all the walksters.
yeah, the many work organizations. BLM, I guess, is a non NGO or supposedly,
Yeah.
and so on. Yeah. So there are lots of Western NGOs working hard to change our laws so that demographics would change.
Yeah,
At the
there
moment,
was
Israel is about 75 to maybe 78% Jewish.
Oh,
yeah,
non-government
there was
organization.
a push to legalize all this family reunions lunacy. That
Mm-hmm.
people will import four Arab wives and have 20 kids because who are we to judge polygamy? And
Sorry.
yeah, this is true. They wanted to make Arab only legalized polygamy, and when family
Oh,
reunions internationally is that, all the EU woke NGOs tried to make this scheme. They made 150,000 more Arab civilians in Israel until people caught up to that and blocked this nonsense.
wow.
They do
When was
this.
that?
Uh, the reunions were blocked in 2001, I think, more or less. This
Okay.
scheme. Yeah, Israel is the NGO Disneyland. Every There is four cameramen for every single civilian on Hebron by woke Westerners.
Jesus.
I'll send you a link that shows that there's two links that show the. Well, you can use this one. It will show the map when how it was in the 70s before Israel returned the
Okay.
before
Uh-huh.
the so in 78 the world made supposedly a peace plan, peace agreement. They all got Nobel prizes, and Israel lost about 80+% of its area. And in 92, again, they made some sort of peace deal, the Oslo Accords. Bill Clinton got his Nobel Prize. He was smiling and happy, and we lost another chunk of our country. That's
Nice.
basically, a kind of a cynical view of it,
So how big is Israel now? Do you know how many like square miles or square kilometers?
I think it's 20, is it 20 something?
27, 22, 27.
I'm just going to
Uh,
look up.
yeah, 20.7 thousand kilometers.
Yeah.
So it's
The,
8,000 square miles.
This
yes.
may completely chop off the Judean area, so it may be fake, or maybe
Okay.
the Golan as well.
If you
I think
include,
I
if you
think
include,
I think
sorry, if
27.
Yeah.
if you include the what you call the West Bank,
Yeah.
uh, then it will be about 28.
Oh, okay.
But it's not really. I mean, I can't see how that's going to become ever part of Israel as things are.
You
Look,
never know.
Europeans do not have kids. Maybe we'll just buy land in Italy or something. We will have an Israel in
Yeah,
Italy,
that's true.
Israel in the UK.
Yeah, do it. So you guys are actually just bigger than Scotland, even with the West Bank gone. You guys are still bigger than Scotland.
No, Scotland is a bit bigger.
Oh, my mistake. Yeah, sorry. 30,000 square miles. A square. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, my mistake. 30,000 square miles as opposed to square kilometers.
Another thing with Israel is the map is a bit misleading if you just look at it because the southern half is desert, so very few people live there.
Okay, so it's not farmable and
Yeah,
there's
exactly.
yeah.
Where it's livable is the green area,
Yep.
right? And as you can see, the green strip, its narrowest part is actually the most important part. That's where Tel Aviv is.
Yep.
The For historical reasons, there was empty space there, so Jews settled in that area.
Yeah, it
Mm-hmm.
was literally
Yeah,
built on completely
yeah,
empty sands, nothing
yeah,
near it.
yeah. They like to make all sorts of claims, but it's not true. Tel Aviv was built on sand. Most of the Israeli towns are in the worst places because the best land was already taken.
Mm.
Not all, but probably most. So anyway, Tel Aviv is not very near the border. I mean, if you look at, for example, part of the metropolitan Tel Aviv, Herzliya, which is in the north, it's about, I mean, I don't know, like still the streets in Kfar Saba and Herzliya, which is part of the metropolitan, are
Yep.
literally, I'm just trying to, I found how you measure.
They are from in
So
motor range from
2 miles, two
Yeah,
miles from the border.
Kalkilia is
Really?
Yeah.
A Palestinian Authority area. If they will
And
ever
it's
have a state, it will be on a simple $50 motor range.
at its narrowest place, Israel is less than 10 miles wide. So when you look at just north of Tel Aviv,
Yep.
um, yeah, from Tel Aviv shores, like from
And
to
by the way,
to
the
the
entire
border, is
and
20 miles.
by the way, the entire
Wow.
Judean area is very mountainous area, so they
Okay.
have a
Yeah,
hilltop advantage over the entire coastal line.
yeah.
Ah.
So strategically, there's no way Israel can just give up some of these places. One of those tricks that they do is they drew this line and they turned it into this is going to be the borders, the 67 line, the 67 line. These
Uh,
can't be borders.
so let me ask you this: the people that live in the West Bank, which is
Mhm.
technically Israel,
But it's
what?
Judea and Samaria, which were regions of the ancient nation of Israel for sure.
Okay, and you wouldn't consider the West Bank Israel today?
Not
You
politically,
no, but
and
you personally.
yes, I consider it part of Israel, but I
Okay.
wouldn't, I wouldn't go and kill people for it.
No,
It's
no,
like,
of course. But the people that live there today, there is technically no reason why you guys couldn't make that country one and all get on completely fine, is there?
no, there
No,
is
way, way, way
this is
off.
exactly what we're talking about, losing
So
our
tell me.
authority.
You have the
The
So
majority,
mentality. You have the mentality of a British bureaucrat in Israel, the 1910s. Make it a one state, and everything will be fine.
yeah,
but that's what I'm
there
saying.
will
So
be civil war. We
For
try. I
eternity.
mean, yeah, there'll be
no, yeah,
civil
but
war.
I don't think I'm explaining myself. What I mean is, if the people there
Hmm.
were half decently behaved people, you could. I don't know how to kind of explain what I'm saying. If they weren't psychotic, they could
Yeah.
live in Israel, and you could have a larger country with all of you working together, or not.
No, they're
For
not
example,
psychotic. They just have a different culture and a different moral values and a
But they've
different way
taken your
of.
country.
Hmm?
But they've taken your country.
Well, but taken. I mean, they've taken it historically. They've lived there. Most of them have lived there for between 100 and 1,000 years. So
Okay, so you're happy to just have what's left, what you've been given.
yeah, I
why?
mean, not exactly happy because these borders, like I said, are not
So that's what I'm
uh,
saying.
another possible. But in our dreams, we will come
Hmm.
to some arrangement with them where we don't have to fight them and they can
That's what.
live
Okay, that's where
happily,
I am.
right?
Okay.
But I don't think that arrangement will be turning it all into one state because, just like I said before, if you have two peoples with completely different
Completely
outlook on
different.
life,
Yeah.
one belongs in the Arab world, one belongs more or less in the West.
Yep.
They
It's
are
not
not
gonna
even
go well.
they are not even a real nation internally. They're
Yeah,
basically
they will
sitting
fight amongst
clans.
themselves.
Yeah. Of
Yeah,
course they do. Yeah. I know.
Yeah, they're not a nation in the sense that European nations are.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, man, this is so complicated.
It is super complicated, and we just kind of touched it because it gets really tedious and boring, especially if you're not emotionally invested in all this. It's like,
Oh shit.
you know, so I don't want to overload
No, no, no.
people
It's not
with.
boring. It's just I feel bad for what's going on there. Like
So
but
the same is true for the Golan Heights, which Trump
I
in
was
his
just going to
great
ask you about that.
wisdom
Yeah.
recognized is part of Israel. The rest of the world doesn't, but we don't care. It is
Somewhere in
part of
the,
Israel now.
if you look
Hmm.
very
Uh,
carefully, somewhere in the upper north of the Golan Heights, you can find the Trump Heights, a town called after Donald Trump.
Really?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
search it manually.
80%
Yeah.
support in Israel for Trump. So 70 to
Really?
80%. Yeah, yeah. I got a link to with the poll that ran. Yeah, Trump Heights. There's only a few houses. It's not like happening yet, but eventually it will happen. Some of those
Yeah.
things take decades.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I remember when I was a kid, I went to see one of them, and there was like four houses, and then
Oh,
10 years later, there was still four houses. But now it's a actual place, you know. So suddenly something happens, and people start moving,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Isn't that
you
funny
know.
that they've left that? Why is that blurry, but everywhere else is clear?
When something is of strategic importance, Israel requests that
Oh, they
Google
blur it
blur
out.
it.
It may
Okay.
be buffering issues. I don't think there is something exotic in that
No, the
specific
resolution
area.
in if you go and look at a street in London versus a street in Israel, you'll see there's a difference in
There is
resolution.
Google Street View for this area. You could activate Google Street View if you wish.
Yeah, I'm on. I don't use Google. I use DuckDuckGo.
Okay,
Not that DuckDuckGo is any good anymore, but
yeah, that's also been,
crap,
yeah,
woke bull crap.
wokified.
Yeah.
So the
What's
Golan
this
Heights
piece?
is a similar story. It used to be Syrian, and it's a height, right? If you know from the name, and
Yeah.
what's there is like a valley where the lake is. It's a valley. It's actually below sea level,
Okay.
and they used to basically shell and simply shoot directly. People work in farms, and the
For
city is
ni-
down below.
Jesus.
for 19 years straight.
Yeah, non-stop,
Wow.
all the time. They literally took over a town in the Golan Heights and turned it into an army base that was just shooting at Israelis. So at some
Nice.
point we had enough, and then there was a war, and we took over this region. In fact, we took over a lot more, but the decision was made to retreat a bit
Hmm.
and keep the area that matters.
Well,
So
that makes
that
sense.
was kept. The area contains a population called the Druze mostly. The
Uh-huh.
Druze are an ethno-religion who are not Muslim. They're of Arab descent. Hey, Silver, stop rustling
Yeah.
while I'm
Stop
talking.
eating.
Yeah, mute. The the region is yeah, those Jews are Arabs, but they're not Muslim, and they have their own sense of ethno-religion, right?
Okay.
They're their own thing, and they are known as fierce fighters and people you don't want to mess with. It goes back in history as well.
Nice.
Mountain people, right? They're like
Where did you want me to go street view with?
I
Don't know,
don't. Well, you where you were, it was quite could be
Trump height
interesting.
maybe.
Oh, okay.
Trumpites. I don't know
No, it's not
if
gonna
they'll
let
have
me.
any. There you go.
Okay.
Google didn't send that. Google probably don't go into a place called Trump Heights.
Definitely not. No.
Yeah, their car stops working.
Yeah, as soon as they get near it.
Yeah.
No, I interrupted you. Sorry, dude. Go.
Uh,
The
so yeah,
Druze.
so that's the same situation. So Israel took over, and the Syrians cry and cry about it, but you know they're gonna have it back. That's
Syrian
because
girl tears make me happy.
yeah, there's a channel called Syrian Girl. She moans about the Golan Heights.
Oh,
It's not
really?
even their nation. It's like Druze. It used to be called Jabal Druze, I think, and it's a
Okay.
Druze people. And at some point they were talking about having their own state, even. when the French were in charge. But there was some revolt or something that I don't remember the details of, and the whole thing fell apart. But they are a small nation in a sense.
Mm.
By the
We
way,
already have Jews in Israel, and they are super loyal to the state.
here's a trivia fact. Down below in the north of the desert, I think there is the biggest crater on Earth called the Ramon crater.
This is what made supposedly, biblically,
Maybe.
King Solomon rich, the copper in
Oh,
this
really?
area. Yeah. So
Is it that?
Israel or whoever was there back then, Judeans, were one of the largest producers of coppers in the ancient world.
Oh,
Them and
really?
Cyprus, which is called Cyprus because of copper. Cyprus is copper. Cypra,
Ah,
whatever, you know.
yeah, on the cypress tree, cypress,
Yeah. Well, that's
rather.
later, but the actual word comes from copper.
I think that's Ramon crater.
This one.
Uh, or the other way around. Copper comes from Cyprus. I can't remember, but that's yeah, it's the same word basically. Cyprus was even a bigger, apparently even bigger than this, but it was harder to move the copper.
Hmm. So much history there, man.
And
I
during the
love.
Bronze Age, Bronze Age. I mean, copper is bronze is copper, right?
Hmm.
It's copper and
In
is it
Machtesh
tin?
Ramon.
Hmm.
Below Wikipedia, Machtesh Ramon.
Well,
Ramon, yeah, Martesh Ramon, yeah.
okay. Wow, man, that's crazy.
So a meteorite or something fell there a long, long time ago.
What?
It's possible that the beginnings of the Jewish religion are somewhere in that area.
Oh yeah.
There are different, different scholars with different theories, but one of them found traces of the reference to the Jewish God very early in this area when they're saying
Uh,
maybe
I, d-
it's related. It's
uh,
interesting. It's
I
definitely an
don't
area that was important during later years and
I
mentioned
don't
in
know if you're aware, but there was 2 weeks ago archaeological proof that at least partially a story from the Numbers in Joshua truly happened in Judea and Samaria, but by one of the most important 21st century archaeological findings 2 weeks ago.
yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, there is a
It's the first
story.
earliest mention of the Jewish God that they found.
Yeah, it's the earliest ever
That's
written Hebrew founded ever, and the earliest ever God name
what?
in biblical Hebrew founded ever.
The
From
So
actual
how old is
name,
that? How old is that,
30,
man?
13 BC,
13,
100 BC,
1300 BC.
Yeah.
by biblical
Oh.
scholars, the Joshua era.
So that's Joshua era in the
Mm,
Bible,
mm,
before the King David and all that.
mm. So why don't let's talk about religion for a bit. So
Yeah.
obviously in the UK, I believe that the amount of people that are currently worshipping, that currently consider themselves to be active Christians, is something tiny like 22%. And then there's something like 6% people practicing Islam.
Mhm.
In Israel, what do you think the amount of people that are practicing Jews? Not necessarily, because obviously there's different types of Jews, but just people that are fairly strongly religious.
Uh, I do
The
not try
spectrum.
I do not try to be wanker about it, but to be completely, it's not completely as strict definitions in regular Western Christianity, because in Judaism, for example, if you do a lot but half so believe, it's not ideal. It's still a sin to a level, but in
Yeah.
the general gist of things, it counted as fine, and so on. So some people
Yeah,
do a lot,
it's
but
like
partially believe but do a lot. Some heavily believe and do a little. So it's
Okay,
yeah,
I'll put it.
let me say something. So to say religion, the word religion already comes with an assumption, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Where Judaism is not exactly a religion; it's just a way of life.
Yes.
It's a tribe that lives a certain way, and it's maintained some of those ancient customs and ways of thinking.
Mm-hmm.
So and through ancestry and through a little bit of conversion as well, not that much though. The
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
majority is through ancestry, and it's not the same as religion. So that's why you're a Jew, even if you're an atheist, and you're still a Jew. So Woody Allen, people say he's a Jew, and he will say he's a Jew, but he doesn't believe in any God. Where a Christian stops being a Christian if they don't believe in God. So Judaism is more about how you live and less about what you believe.
Woody Allen always seemed a little bit more Muslim to me.
He's an atheist. I mean,
well, he had
he's an
sexual
atheist.
shenanigans akin to similar to some of Muhammad's companions.
Well, I didn't want to
Allegedly,
say it,
allegedly,
but
allegedly, allegedly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just giving him as an example, but you can
yeah, yeah,
choose
yeah.
lots of, I'm sure in
Dave
UK,
Rubin.
yeah, he's an atheist. Although he did say he's
it's a bit
becoming more religious.
traditional
Yeah,
to a degree with his
yeah,
personal lifestyle and so on.
yeah,
He's gay.
Yeah,
yeah,
with an non-Jew as well.
Yeah. What the? Anyway.
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
anyway,
Well,
look,
let that be our worst enemy, David Rubin. Okay, that
Mm,
will be,
it'll be nice.
yeah,
that'll be
anyway,
quite good, right?
for
Yeah.
your question, how percentage of the Israeli Jews are,
Yeah.
let's say, strongly believe in divine essence and are very traditional. So it is not exactly completely orthodox devout, but you count them as well. You count them as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would say from depends how you count, from 40 to 55.
Okay.
Uh, but not all of them are orthodox devout in this definition,
And
because
and then you have the people who are kind of religious, so they will go to synagogue a few times a year, but not every Friday night. They
but
Yeah.
will
they
not do all the customs, and they might eat non-kosher
but they
sometimes, and
will
Yeah.
but they're
never vote
still,
for a secularist party and so on.
yeah, but
Okay.
they're still very connected to the religion, and maybe they have doubts, maybe they're a bit like agnostic and that sort of stuff. Then there's like people who are ultra secularist, against religion, and religion is the worst thing on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Probably about 10% like that as well.
Yeah,
Um,
the
you
fedora
know,
is start to get weakened in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then there are a lot of people like me who are non-religious, but really not that bothered about religion unless they're trying to force me to do something I don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm happy. I think they're maintaining something that I'm too lazy to, in a way. So,
Yeah, I
uh,
know. I know how
so
you feel. Um, and so to you personally, religion doesn't matter too much.
I'm
But
for religion. I'm
yeah,
I'm not
yeah, yeah.
anti-religion. Yeah.
No, 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 no. But all I'm saying is that you personally are not like desperately devout.
No,
Um.
Silvery is more religious than me, so
Okay.
you could draw
So,
comparisons if you like.
well, I was just wondering if in Israel you're seeing a lot of the young people losing religion and replacing it with wokeness.
No, but
No,
maybe
some, yeah, but no. Go on, Silver.
no, not by much. There is a lot of weird hybrid in Israel of fedora atheist yet ultra nationalist at the same time. There was a party for them called Israel is Our Home, that it was simultaneously hard nationalist, hard secular, plus specific welfare for Russian immigrants.
Wow,
So
that's interesting.
Well, that was the issue, the big hot issue. So
Oh, okay. So
we had
that was
many
the
Russian immigrants. Yeah.
yes, so wokeness. it's not like there is a horde of a youngster, a wokester. To the contrary, many of the younger are even more right wing because they never had they were not alive in the pseudo peace process in the 90s and the 90s, and nostalgia, hope for peace. Many of the youth are far more right wing. But
Really?
yeah, I think we are more or less the only Western countries that the right is the hefty majority of the young population.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
Uh,
the right also generally wins elections, not by a massive majority, but don't forget
hmm.
that we have the Arabs who generally don't vote for the right, and they're
Oh
20% of
yeah.
the voting. But if you actually look at the Jewish vote, then there's a clear winner, and he's not a prime minister right now.
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Let me put.
you can put the last elections results if you want that we will tell you about the
We have
parties.
lots of parties. It's lots of fun, you know.
Yeah,
It's,
it's a
no one
coalition.
actually knows all of them. Like if someone knows all the parties, there's something wrong with them. That's how many.
Okay. What should I go? Haaretz or
No, do not
That's
press it.
evil. Do not give him a
uh,
click. Evil
Wikipedia?
operators.
No,
Yeah.
2021.
Okay. Blimey.
Yeah, so let's see. Yeah, the Israeli parliament, it's 120 seats.
Okay. 61 seats needed for a majority. Okay, so we've got
What
one,
I
two.
want explanations about parties. Yeah, I will start. A Likud. It's basically some sort of a. It's hard to describe it to Western very easily. It's modern Likud. It's basically uh, on it's solid yet non-radical right, a solid right on security issues,
Okay.
moderate populist about economics, some sort of a hybrid of a, let's say, uber capitalism in the high tech, but hefty at non-Scandinavian level of welfare at the same time. Basically, solid right on security, populist, moderate populist of economics, uh, secularish but with heavy respect for tradition. Yeah, this is the largest party of Israel by far.
Interesting. Okay.
Netanyahu is from that party.
Okay. And then yeah,
Uh,
Shetid.
yeah, Likud literally means union because it was historically in the 70s a union between some smaller
Okay.
parties. Yesh Atid, there is a future. This is basically uh, filthy centrist who are woke light on social issues.
Okay. Oh no. So are they like the Democrats?
Uh, they could be some sort of a Joe Manchin Democrat. They are
Oh, okay.
still genuinely non-fake patriotic, but the long-term wokeness will enter through them.
Okay. Okay.
Shas. This is a Spanish Spanish Jews ultra-orthodox party.
Okay.
They are economic populist.
Did you say
Hard
Spanish?
Yeah, the Spain
Yeah, yeah.
Jews,
Oh, okay.
which is funny because he wears hardcore Ashkenazi clothes right now. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, they are economic populist, very hard right security, economic populist, and they're
Interesting.
ultra clerical,
Okay. Oh, ultra clerical. Okay.
blue and white. This is very funny to tell it to a Westerner. This is basically uh, a center left party who dare not admit that they are center left because how much that it's a taboo to openly say you are a leftist in Israel.
Is it
They,
really?
yeah, they call themselves centrist, but they are truly center leftist. And
Okay.
to overcompensate the fact that everyone knows that they are reality center leftist, they made their entire party for military generals. Basically,
Wow.
the entire higher leadership, it's generals, and they basically do overcompensation. For example, there is unironic election ad that they say, I was the general under this operation in Gaza and I killed this amount of terrorists and I'm proud of that. Yet I believe my policies will help Israel as the general who killed this number of terrorists in Gaza. And that in America, in the UK, even radical right will never dare to have this kind of ad.
No.
Yeah, but they're center leftist. Centrist on security, center leftist economics, center leftist secularist, but sadly they completely open for wokeism light.
Oh God. Okay. Moving on.
Yamina. This is basically religious Zionism. They are again. They are. I'll explain it very quickly. They are hardliners on security. They are hard. This is quite funny, but they are hardliners on capitalism. They are
Okay.
not populist like the Likud above.
Okay.
The hardliners capitalism, and they are moderate pro clerical. You could say this is basically to a soft degree American Republican Party copy paste.
Right. Okay.
But with Judaism, labor. Man, this is worth an entire different stream to speak about Israeli labor, because to call it socialism is like the British socialist is just historical error. It was kind of meant to describe the pioneer era Labor Party. It's so complicated. You can call it even a fifth position if you wish so, or a seventh position as the 7 days of the week and Sabbath and so on.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were nationalistic, brotherhood, very minor socialism, nationalistic era. But later, with years, in the last 3 decades, they became a hybrid of American liberalism and American wokeness. They now have a lunatic feminist called Merav Michaeli.
Oh God.
Open a new tab, search in YouTube Merav Michaeli TED. This is nightmare fuel.
Nightmare fuel. Okay, you're gonna have to spell that for me.
Merav, Merav, Michal. Yeah, TED Australia.
Merav Michaeli.
Yeah, search add TED Talk Australia. No,
Okay.
a video.
Yeah, I got it. Fuck it, Michaeli. TED Talk Australia. Cancel marriage.
No, search it again. There is a far shorter video. More videos.
Strong.
I will send you the link myself.
Okay, yeah,
I don't think of it. Just a moment.
Growing up in Australia with this body. No, that's the wrong one.
Just a moment. Where is Mossad?
I think he said that he's just getting a drink. Or something.
Yeah, I found it. Wait.
But there's no rush, because like I say, I'm going to edit it anyway, so.
Yeah, here I found it on the private chat.
Aha.
Wait, let's see. Why there is no volume?
Oh no, can you not hear that?
No.
Hear that?
No.
Damn it. Okay, hold on. Settings.
Yeah. We know what she's saying. It's bad things. We actually had a stream about this. Oh yeah, it's that one in Australia. Yeah, we have a clip on that on our channel, which is a bit longer because we complain about every word she says.
Yeah, I can't remember how to.
No worries. I mean, people can look it up. Her idea is that the family is the most dangerous place for children, and the state should come and rescue them, basically, from the
Oh,
family.
To
lovely.
kidnap, to state the orphanages and so on.
Oh my.
She's a true Herbert Marcuse, Harvard. She's basically an American clone, an American university radical clone.
Yeah.
She has zero original take, zero Israeli mentality. She's a complete copy paste of the American university far leftist.
Yeah,
Oh
she's
my
trying to change the
god.
language with all this, he, him, her, they, them, all this stuff, the Hebrew equivalents.
Tell me if you can hear this.
More traditional.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay, let's start again. Sorry, lads. I'd just forgotten to press
We
share
apologize to
audio.
the world for creating this person somehow.
by the way, her
This is not-
grandfather supposedly, obviously non-true, completely fiction. Supposedly, her grandfather was a Nazi collaborator who personally helped the entire Hungarian Jewry to be sent to Auschwitz. George Soros was a kid in the block compared to her grandfather, supposedly.
Wow.
And she want to kidnap more Jewish children.
Yeah.
I will be more silent. I'm going to be very edgy at this rate.
So-
Play start.
Silver loves this woman, as you can tell.
Yeah.
She looked like a Doom, that bitch from Doom 2016.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Okay, so kidnapping Jews runs in her blood. Okay, I'm with it. Let's have a listen.
With your permission, Virginia, this is not funny. The core family, as we know it, unfortunately, is the least safe place for children. Not in Australia, in the Western world, and in more traditional societies, even more so. The data speaks about every fifth child that goes through some kind of abuse, sexual, physical, emotional.
Everyone despises her.
Is the place which exactly those parental rights that you are talking about and the custody, this total custody that we have in this structure of marriage, which still gives men domination, complete domination over their children,
He's
and
afraid.
too often over their women, and who are called wives, is a part of
Nightmare.
the ongoing hurt in children. So I do want to put the discussion on parental rights in perspective and in context, and the context of what are the values of this core family that you are protecting so much. That's one of the things that we need to start breaking apart. I believe that instead of marriage, should offer two kinds of default agreements. One is custody over children. A child can have more than two parents. They don't have necessarily to be his biological parents or her biological parents. The person who responsibility for the child, and someone must take responsibility for the child, needs to be obligated for certain criteria that the state should
She
actually
just needs a broomstick,
decide
doesn't she?
upon. What does it mean
Yeah,
that
and
you
a
are
pointy
responsible
out.
Look
for the
like
child?
a
And I
Steve
believe
Lord from Star Wars.
has to consume a lot of freedom for the child to be who she or he is.
And you
the other
want
thing
the state deciding this?
No, what do you mean the state? It's us coming together in a democracy.
Democracy,
I
yes.
suppose later what
Herbert Marcuse said communism is the true democracy.
To be a good parent. The other thing is that the other kind of agreement that should be made by a default option by the state is for a shared household. Those components, those major components of marriage that have to do with social, economical, financial aspects that we do not discuss when we get married. You know when we discuss them? When we divorce. Then it becomes a war.
Yeah.
Lovely, yeah. She always wears
Wow.
black.
With your permission.
She's so bad at being social. She can't even live with her own husband or whoever
Yeah,
the
yeah.
person
I
is.
wanted to
They live
say
in
it.
two
She's
separate.
so radical.
Never. Why are you talking over me? Give me
You,
a chance.
I'm more well versed in this area. Let me speak.
Okay, okay. Yes,
Here's the
master. Yes.
here's the thing. She's basically the neo-Marxist hybrid between radical liberalism, individualistic right, and radical socialism, woke left paradoxical hybrid. For example, she said basically every form of marriage is oppression because he rules. He's in my house. He have a say on the property, on the apartment. Shows she's as an ideology was known in public with some wanker soy boy lefty late night host. She basically refused to live with him at the same apartment because this is oppression. So they went to some Tel Aviv ultra mega rich skyscraper. She
Yeah.
lives in one floor. He lives something like 3 floors above her.
No.
They refuse to live in the same apartment. She refused because this is oppression. So
Oh
they
my god.
basically, hello, you want to go to my apartment tonight? Or he calls, may I go to your apartment tonight? No, I want some space.
Oh
And
my
Yeah.
god.
she's the leader of
Now
the
they use
Israeli,
the surrogate mom as well. They use the surrogate for.
and
She's the lead.
she's the leader of the Labour Party, of the Socialist
No
Party.
way.
My
Which is tiny.
skyscraper.
Thankfully, it's tiny. They used to have 60% of the vote. Now they have what, 6?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
My skyscraper, 2 penthouses, ultra individualistic, living alone, collectivized socialism. Just to let you understand the level of this paradoxical lunacy of this
Yeah.
liberalism, radical liberalism, individualistic rights, plus the socialism promise to fix up everyone. You
I
get
mean, if you
these
want people like
contradictions.
this in England, change your election system to like we have, and you'll have lots of entertainment like this. Because every crazy person will be a head of a party of 3 people.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean,
Yeah.
wow. Wow.
yeah, she hold 6 seats.
Yeah.
6
Uh,
seats.
It's legacy. It's a lot of legacy. If she started a party today on her own, she wouldn't get that far. But it used to be the largest party in Israel. It used to Labour
Yeah.
Party was the #1 force in Israel.
David Ben Gurion would have sent the Shin Bet after her if she was in the
Oh yeah,
50s.
yeah. He will have eliminated.
That is truly frightening. I mean, she
Yeah.
is one of the most awful sounding women I've ever heard speak.
Yes. Yeah.
Up there with,
She's up there. She's up there.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And notice that Israeli nationalists don't get a platform on all these.
Yeah, you will see
On the media.
alt-righters sending this video on some deep BitChute
Yeah.
forums and so on.
You see how the Israelis are changing, subverting society. But she's in that case. I did say some Israelis are part of this, wokery thing,
Yeah.
but they're actually latecomers. There are latecomers to this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
but
almost like the,
basically she's just a clone of a gender study professor from New York. She has
yeah,
nothing Israeli about her. You see at her
Yeah.
mannerisms. She watched French, and still find it problematic. Still watch it anyway.
yeah,
She basically again this what I told you, this lunatic paradox of radical liberalism and radical socialism as I want the life of a rich millionaire under liberalism enforced by socialist state. This
yeah.
this is basically American hard leftism,
AOC.
my God-given right for fully automated luxury communism. This is
Absolutely.
American leftist.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, all this.
What's his name? Harari is another one that the West loves. He
It
wrote
turns out,
*Sapiens*, which Obama thought was an amazing book.
And
But,
Merkel as
he's a
well.
product of British education. Actually, he studied in Oxford.
Oh, I
I
apologize.
blame
I
you guys.
apologize.
Well, he studied in Israel and then he went to Oxford. So we all are responsible, I'm afraid.
Yeah,
Wait,
we share. Let me just ask you one question before we go to those videos, because otherwise I'm going to forget all of these questions.
Go.
Have either of you two heard of the USS Liberty?
Winston stopped writing, partly because he was suffering from cramp. He did not know what had made him pour out this stream of rubbish